Hello and welcome to my YouTube page. In this video we will walk through a simple Python program. In the beginning I will give you an overview of what I plan to cover, then I will switch over to Python idle editor, walk you through the script and then run the program in Python shell. At the end, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing. Now let's begin. For this Python program, the purpose is to provide an example of the multi-layer selection concept. We will use this concept to develop a Pythagorean theorem calculator. Simple conditions are formed with relational operators for comparing two data items. Compound conditions are formed by joining two or more simple conditions with logical operators. A conditional expression, also known as a Boolean expression, consists of an expression that evaluates to a truth value, true or false. A conditional expression can be constructed by comparing the values of two data items and using a relational operator. A conditional expression can be assigned to a variable and its value is of type bool. A compound conditional expression consists of one or more simple conditional expressions. The logical operators and, or, and not are used to develop compound conditional expressions. The not logical operator is applied with one simple condition. If a compound condition is defined as not, the truth value of the compound condition is simply the negation of the truth value of the simple condition. The selection program structure is also known as alternation, because alternate paths are considered, based on the evaluation of a condition. The two possible paths for the execution flow. The condition is evaluated, and one of the paths is selected. With the Python language, the selection structure is written with an if statement and includes three sections: the condition, the then section, and the else section. The else section is optional. The keywords that are used in this statement are if and else. When the condition is evaluated, only one of the two alternatives will be carried out. The multipath selection involves more than two alternatives. The general if statement with multiple paths is used to implement this structure. In Python, the elif clause, which stands for else if, is used to expand the number of alternatives. The if statement with n alternative paths has the general form if, then elif, then else. It is possible to use many combinations of if, elif and else statements to create your desired outcome. You can nest the code blocks as many levels deep as needed to perform the required condition checks. In this program, we will develop a script that creates a function that uses the Pythagorean theorem concept. The calculator will be capable of determining the values of side A, side B, or side C. In mathematics, the Pythagorean theorem is a fundamental relation in Euclidean geometry among the three sides of a right triangle. It states that the area of the square whose side is the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the areas of the squares on the other two sides. This calculator will be capable of determining side A, side B, or side C. The formula for side C equals a squared plus b squared. The formula for side A equals the square root of squared minus b squared. The formula for side B equals the square root of c squared minus a squared. Now, let's open up the Python idle editor and we will develop a program that will create a Pythagorean theorem calculator using multi-layer selection statements. First, start out by putting identification information for the Python file enclosed within three quotations. For the program file name, let's title it Pythagorean Theorem.py. Then the author information, and for that, I'll put my name Lewis. Next the date, which is October 1, 2022, and lastly I'll put a short description of the program. This program creates a Pythagorean theorem calculator. For this program, we want to create a function using multi-layer statements to allow a user to calculate any side of the right triangle using the Pythagorean theorem formula. I want a right triangle to appear when the function is run. Type triangle equals, three quotations, and press enter. Copy and paste a text start right triangle and press enter and then close with three quotations and press enter. Next, let's import the Python math module as we will be using the built-in square root function. Type import math and press enter. This program will use two functions. The first will be the start function. I want this program to run as many times as the user would like to input values to calculate any chosen side of the right triangle. Therefore, the first function will be the start function. The second function will be the Pythagorean Theorem calculator. First, start out by typing def start, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, colon and press enter. Then type, while true colon and press enter. We need an input statement to allow the user to input whether or not they would like to make a second calculation. Therefore type, start equals input, open parenthesis, quotation, would you like to calculate a side of a right triangle, open parenthesis, y/n, close the parenthesis, colon, quotation, close the parenthesis and press enter. This will allow the user to input y, for yes to continue on and n for no to terminate the program. The input statement takes input from the user and returns it. Next, we need an if statement to determine the action Python takes should the user input y for yes. Type if start double equal sign, quotation y quotation, colon, and press enter. Type Pythagorean _theorem, open parenthesis, close the parentheses and press enter. If you recall, this program will create two functions, the second of which will be the Pythagorean theorem calculator. If the user inputs y for yes, this will tell Python to start the calculator again. Next, type else, colon and press enter. Type print, open parenthesis, quotation, take care, see you again soon, quotation, parenthesis and press enter. Then type break and press enter. If the user inputs n, or any other key that is not y, this will trigger the else section and print the goodbye statement, then terminate the program. The print function prints the specified message to the screen, or other standard output device. The message can be a string, or any other object. The object will be converted into a string before being written to the screen. The break statement terminates the loop containing it. Control of the program flows to the statement immediately after the body of the loop. Now let's create the second function. Type def Pythagorean _theorem, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, colon and press enter. I want the triangle to print when the program starts. Type print, open parenthesis, triangle, close parenthesis and press enter. Next type print, open parentheses, quotation, Pythagorean theorem calculator, quotation, close the parenthesis and press enter. Now we need an input statement. As stated previously, this calculator will be capable of calculating any side of the right triangle, therefore we need an input statement to allow the user to input which side is to be calculated. Type formula equals input, open parenthesis, quotation, which side do you wish to calculate A, B, or C, close the quotation, close the parenthesis and press enter. Next, let's walk through the if and elif statements. Type if formula double equal, quotation C quotation, colon and press enter. If the user inputs side C, we need two additional input statements to allow the user to input the values for the other two sides A and B. We also need to define the data type as integer. The int function converts the specified value into an integer number. Type A equals int, open parenthesis, input, open parenthesis, quotation, input the length of side A, colon, quotation, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Type B equals int, open parenthesis, input, open parenthesis, quotation, input the length of side B, colon, quotation, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Now, it's time to input the formula to calculate side C. Type C equals math.sqrt, open parenthesis A, double multiplication sign 2, close the parenthesis plus open parenthesis B, double multiplication sign 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Now, let's print the result. Type print, open parenthesis, quotation, the length of side C is, colon, quotation, comma, I want to round the result to two decimal places, therefore I will use the Python round function here. Type round, open parenthesis C, comma 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. The round function returns a floating point number that is the rounded version of the specified number with the specified number of decimals. This function will round the result of C to two decimal places. Next, we need an elif clause for if the user inputs they would like to calculate a different side. Type ELIF formula quotation A, quotation, colon and press enter. If the user inputs side A, we need two additional input statements to allow the user to input the values for the other two sides B and C. We also need to define the data type as integer. Type B equals int, open parenthesis, input, open parenthesis, quotation, input the length of side B, colon, quotation, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Type C equals int, open parenthesis, input, open parenthesis, quotation, input the length of side C, colon, quotation, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Now, it's time to input the formula to calculate side A. Type A equals math.sqrt, open parenthesis C, double multiplication sign 2, close the parenthesis, minus open parenthesis B, double multiplication sign 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Now, let's print the result. Type print, open parenthesis, quotation, the length of side A is, colon, quotation, comma, round, open parenthesis A comma 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Next, we need an elif clause for if the user inputs they would like to calculate side B. Type ELIF formula quotation B, quotation, colon and press enter. If the user inputs side B, we need two additional input statements to allow the user to input the values for the other two sides A and C. We also need to define the data type as integer. Type A equals int, open parenthesis, input, open parenthesis, quotation, input the length of side A, colon, quotation, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Type C equals int, open parenthesis, input, open parenthesis, quotation, input the length of side C, colon, quotation, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Now, it's time to input the formula to calculate side B. Type B equals math.sqrt, open parenthesis C, double multiplication sign 2, close the parenthesis, minus open parenthesis, A, double multiplication sign 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Now, let's print the result. Type print, open parenthesis, quotation, the length of side B is, colon, quotation, comma, round, open parenthesis B, comma 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses and press enter. We also need an else section if the user inputs an invalid side. Type else, colon and press enter. Then type print, open parenthesis, quotation, sorry that was an invalid command, quotation, close the parenthesis and press enter. We need to call the two functions we just created to start the calculator. Type Pythagorean _theorem, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, and press enter. Next type start open parenthesis, close parenthesis and press enter. Now, let's run the module and confirm the program that creates a Pythagorean theorem calculator works as expected. In the Python idle editor header, click Run, then click Run Module. After the idle shell opens, let's calculate side A, input A, for side B, type 3, for side C, type 4 in Python returns the length of side A, is 2.65. Would you like to calculate a side of a right triangle? Type Y, for yes, and let's calculate side B, now. Input B, for side A, input 5, for side C, input 6. Python returns the length of side B, is 3.32. Would you like to calculate a side of a right triangle? Type Y, for yes, and let's calculate side C, now. Input C, for side A, input 7, for side B, input 8. Python returns the length of side C, is 10.63. Would you like to calculate a side of a right triangle? Since we've confirmed all three sides are calculating as expected, let's type N for no and confirm the program exits. Input N, and Python returns, take care. See you again soon. Thank you for watching my video. If you've enjoyed this video and found it informative, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload videos to YouTube. I'll see you next week with a new Python video. Until next time, take care.